prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
You know, I'm not going to tell you what we have done. We're just going to go out there and we're going to continue to show you. We've made leaps and bounds since the spring, and we're going to continue to take leaps and bounds. So that's a goal of ours, and, you know, we're dead set on proving that. Forget talking about it.
I don't think anybody, including our fan base, are afraid to be the villains. So I think that I think that's what makes this play special, is that starting with our coaching staff and our players, we enjoy getting in a fight, and we enjoy the close games, and, you know, we enjoy the competition.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
I'm Dauber.
And I'm the Indy villain.
Indy, I love clips. They never get old. This is Talkin VAWLS Live. We're going to be talking about, look, this was supposed to be wrapping up the fall of the Vols series, and we were going to kind of put a positive spin on it. We're going to talk about the rise of the Vols, but there's so much going on. The scrimmage today, practice reports, the quarterback competition. I know you guys want to talk about that, so we're just going to hang out. We're going to talk. We're going to do a regular Talkin VAWLS live show. If the topic happens to be what Josh Heupel has to do, then we'll go down that road, but we'll just hang out with you guys for an hour or so, see what's going on. Let's run down the chat, see who is hanging out with us here at 8 o'clock on this good Thursday evening. Justin Sanday is here. He says, go Rocky Top, all the way from Oklahoma. I wonder if that is the furthest listener in the chat tonight. John Hill is here. What's up, John Hill? Throwing those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis in the chat. TK81 hanging out. What's up, TK81? Randy Wilson. Hello, Randy. Come on in, guys. Make sure you do go ahead and smash that like button as always. What's up, Bill Low? Tech Shop Talk is here and says it's already smashed. Boogie, I smashed it. Come on in. Let's get going. Let's get rocking and rolling. You guys know the deal. If you want to talk about something, let us know. Captain Andrew Crabtree says, text a buddy. Talkin VAWLS is live in 60 seconds. So what's up, guys? Let's I don't know. Where do you want to start with? Should we kind of put a bow on the fall of the Vols? Is it you guys want to do that? Should we just start there? Start what, Indy Kid, what does Josh Heupel have to do to turn this thing around?
He needs to, and if he's a smart guy, he has gone back and looked at previous regimes. Yeah, you don't want to, you don't want to rehash things, but I would look at each coach. What did they do well? What prevented them from sustaining longevity? I think you have to see what happened. But one thing is, he has thick skin, or at least that's what we've been told. It's a big-time job, regardless of what Tennessee's record, what they're doing. It's still a big job. With a big job comes scrutiny, comes a lot of eyeballs on it. Be you, Josh Heupel. Don't be what the fans want you to be. Don't be what analysts or anything want you to be. Be who you know you need to be. Second thing is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to touch on you saying, be comfortable in your own skin. And we've talked about it before that he does seem comfortable. And even like in the press conference today, when he came out and he just talked for like 15 minutes, but he comes out and he's cutting up and laughing, like making jokes. And you could even see him after he walked away from the podium. He walks right down through the middle of the media and he's cutting up and making jokes with guys. Like he just seems comfortable. Jeremy Pruitt never seemed comfortable. Butch Jones, Derek Dooley, I think Lane Kiffin's probably the last coach that we had that felt comfortable in his skin. I didn't know you had a top 10 list, but you can keep on rocking and rolling.
No, I was just going to say, just let your coaches coach. That's what you've brought them there for. Obviously, Heupel is going to call the plays. He's pretty much the de facto offensive coordinator. Let your guys on the defensive side you brought in, let them coach. Your specialties offense, let your defensive guys coach defense. Let your strength and conditioning guys get the players in shape. Obviously, you're laying it out for them. You're the facilitator. You're the orchestrator. But let everybody coach. And then go out to win. Go out to win games. Every coach we've mentioned, Pruitt, Butch Jones, Derek Dooley, Lane Kiffin. Lane wasn't there long enough, but Dooley, Jones, Pruitt, they all had their moments early in their tenure where they were aggressive. But the longer the tenure went, the less aggressive they became, and they were playing not to lose rather than to win. He plays to win, he's going to be fine. And with that, you're going to make mistakes. That's going to come scrutiny. But, again, be you, Josh Heupel.
Is that why? Is that why I look like Brian Maurer? Dauber has more tattoos than I've got. I don't know what that comment's about. What do you think, Dauber? What's Josh Heupel got to do?
Beat the teams you're supposed to beat and be competitive in those games that nobody really kind of gives you a chance this year. Be a lot more competitive than we've been the last couple of seasons.
Alan B. Troll Patrol hanging out in the chat. What's up, Alan? I'm glad you're here. Terrence Lewis becomes a member of the channel. You've now got access to custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. You too can do that. Drop down just below, right beside subscribe. There's a join button. It's 99 cents a month. If you are a member, go ahead and show them what they've won. Drop those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis in the chat. You know, I mean, we're saying what Josh Heupel needs to do, what he has to do. I think he's not coached a game yet, obviously, but everything that we're saying, other than Dauber saying beat the teams you're supposed to be, I mean, I think he's going to let his coaches coach. I think he's comfortable in his skin. You know, I think we're seeing the fact that he lets all of his assistants talk. He lets the players talk. Look how many guys have spoke to the media this week alone. I mean, I think he is going to let his coaches coach. Let's just jump into the scrimmage, talk about practice, talk about this quarterback competition. Did you guys hear anything coming out of the scrimmage today?
A little bit. I saw just that Heupel said the quarterbacks took care of the ball. I didn't see any specifics on it, who looked good, who did what, or anything. It kind of seemed like the defense had the better day. But I did see where he mentioned about they took care of the ball.
Sounds like the defensive line had a good day, which I think is a good thing. And, you know, Hubbs and Austin Price were talking about it. And it's one of those deals where you're an offensive coach. You trust that his offense is going to come around, right? Whereas if you continue to hear, and Heupel even commented during the press conference, basically saying you want it to be back and forth. If one side of the ball is dominating every single practice, then you've got a problem. But when there's, you know, a practice or a scrimmage where the defense wins, then the next week, next scrimmage, the offense wins. I'm happy to see this defensive line do something, because all we have heard is negative from Rodney Garner, from Josh Heupel, from watching the orange and white game to watching the open practice. This defensive line has been through the ringer, and it sounds like they got a chip on their shoulder. That's why I love that clip that we opened with Matthew Butler. I love that clip so much because I think he's sick of it, and he's ready to go prove something.
Heck, you've got one of the best D-line coaches coaching them up right now. So you better believe that they're going to be ready and fired up to play. And I think that both, if you look at offensive and defensive lines from last year, they underperformed. There were times that they played well, and then there were times that they looked horrible. So that's going to be a point to really look at the first couple of weeks. To really see how, especially offensive line, all the talent that's there, and see if we can, sustain drives, and then defensively, seeing if we can get some pressure from the front line, pressure on the quarterback, because that was very hard to come by last year. If we got pressure, it was because we were bringing a linebacker. The front guys, they just didn't get it done, and I think that is really going to be what I'm looking for the first couple of weeks. Really, get those guys going and really kind of setting the tone for both the offense and the defense.
I'll just kind of I'm going to be the guy to kind of go here. I'm done talking about before this year. That was the Fall of the Vols finale for me. I'm done with it. I started to burn live on air, go burn a fire with all the previous eras on it. It's a new era. Let's see where these guys go. I'm encouraged. I think this defense is going to be better than people think. I think the transfers that they brought in are going to be big. You had 2 at each level, and I think all of them, I think Terry and Tremblay are going to contribute. Mitchell, I think Moan's a little more, maybe wait and see, but I think he'll be a good player. And then I love the 2 cornerback pickups, Turnage and Haddon. And I would not be a bit surprised if one of those guys starts. And I wonder if you couldn't possibly start them both and move Taylor to nickel in some situations. I still want to see – I think Taylor's got talent. I still want to see him ball out to his potential. I don't think we've seen that yet. But
I wonder if they would do that too. But again, Heupel talked about Theo Jackson and Slaughter both looking good in the scrimmage today. So it's interesting to me because out of those 4 corners, out of Alontae Taylor, Turnage, Warren Burrell, and Haddon, I would put Haddon 4th. But I don't know why. I guess I just say that for whatever reason.
No, I agree.
But I could see a situation where Alontae Taylor doesn't even start, and that's the guy that you sent to SEC Media Days. And I love Alontae Taylor. I do. I especially seeing him at SEC Media Days. He's a true leader, well-spoken, good kid. But I'm with you. I think, something I think he does well is the run game. I think he plays aggressive. I think he's very physical, and it kind of fits that nickel position. Of course, it's previous staff. They use the nickel a lot in blitzing situations. I don't know what Tim Banks will do so much with that position, but a position that we were concerned about, now I'm a little excited about it. And I'm with you. I think the transfer portal really helped this defense. Let me get through some of the business here. Clifton Flynn.
Real quick before you do, just before you lose that thought, you remember Prunty?
Yeah, back in the transfer portal.
Back in the portal. And
no way.
Turnage. No, I don't touch him now.
What's funny is he seemed like the better of the two when you looked at him. And Tennessee kind of lucked out there that he ended up going to South Carolina, in my opinion. I don't think he tries to come to Tennessee anyway. I don't know that they would even show interest. Clifton Flynn, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. We appreciate that. You can use the custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. Dustin Sellers with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Dustin. We appreciate it. Says, thanks to you all for all the content. The Fall of the Vols was therapeutic for all of our PTSD. A lot of time and research put into it. It's time to rise. Thank you, Dustin. We've said it over and over. I know a lot of people didn't enjoy that, and that's fine. It's fine. If you're not into it, don't watch it. But it is, Indy Kid did a lot of work getting us rolling, like a full-fledged outline. So we kind of, Dauber and I knew what we needed to research for each episode. And it did, man. We put some work into it. So I'm glad to see that some of you guys enjoyed it. Vol Nation News GBO with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Vol Nation News GBO just slapped a $5 bill on the table and walked away. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. Clifton Flynn just upgraded, threw a little extra money our way. Well, thank you, Clifton. We appreciate that.
I just want to throw in about the Fall of the Vols. I appreciate you two guys jumping all in. I think it was a good collaborative effort on it. When I brought it up, you guys could have said, nah, I'm done talking about the pound. I don't want to do it. But, all 3 of us, it seemed we're all in. Everybody did their research. So it was definitely a team effort on that. We all worked really good together on that. And I think it sucked to kind of revisit some of it. But at the same time, I don't feel that it's ever been truly – it was visited up to a point. And the last thing I found, like I told you guys, was almost 10 years ago. So there's been a lot happen in that time.
So just a little bit.
I think it'll be interesting for people to go back and watch 5 years from now, and that's why I put it under its own playlist. That's the Fall of the Vols, and it's just got all those episodes in order. And then this live stream will be there in the end. So if somebody is watching this in 2032 and Tennessee still sucks, just
well,
understand.
And it wasn't meant to be a trash the program. It's just a revisionist history. That's it. I mean, it happened. How did we get here? And because we started it with the perfect leeway was we did the 98 championship view that night. And now look where we're at. Now, I just thought it was kind of interesting. How do you go from that point? And there's other programs that have done the same, but obviously we're Tennessee fans. We follow Tennessee. And
it's interesting when you get back into looking at that, you're like, oh, yeah, I kind of forgot about that. Or maybe I subconsciously, just put it out of my mind.
The 2001 LSU game was one that I had burned out of my memory.
Yeah.
And then having to go back and relive that and do the research on it was painful. Rob's Tennessee with a $9.99 super sticker. You can only see that on YouTube, but it looks like the Indy Kid. It is a dinosaur with his hat on backwards, but a little bit sideways. So thank you, Rob's Tennessee, for the super sticker. We appreciate that. There was a question here I wanted to address. Where did it go? I lost it. Oh, here it is. Patrick Arwood wants to know, who do we think will get the most sacks this year, and do you think anyone could get 10? The reason I bring that question up is talking about the defensive line, because a guy that's getting a lot of buzz is Byron Young coming off the edge, and they are really hyping him up. And again, it's practice. We talking about practice, y'all. But I think you're going to see a different defensive line. And like Dauber said, you've got the best defensive line coach in the country actually teaching them versus a guy that got fired 4 games in, and then your head coach comes in. But Byron Young looks good. And then I'm with the Indy Kid. I think the transfers coming in, I think they're going to contribute. I don't know. Obviously, you're going to be rotating guys. But DeJoun Terry, Caleb Tremblay, they're going to be in the 2 deep. What does Bumpus look like wearing that number 11 coming back from injury?
Well, here's the other thing. Talking about the defense, how are they going to handle an offense that is trying to go as fast as they can and being potentially on the field for extended amounts of time? And I know that's something that they've worked on in the fall and the spring, and, they've tried to go tempo and, the weight room and the conditioning and all that, but it's different practice to a game.
I'm going with Barron. I think Barron's going to lead the way. But we've got to see it. Yeah, you're exactly right. Totally different tempo. I'm not sure about the other offense. We'll see it in the Ole Miss game. Mm-hmm. That's one where tempo for tempo is going to be matched, and we may see it before that. But I think worst case you'll see it by Ole Miss. And something I'm curious to see is if they're on a real roll, do they sometimes outpace themselves?
Right.
Maybe they go too fast. And I don't know, because I can see if this offense thrives like the plan is, there may be a game or two where defense is barely set on the bench and it's time to go back out. So,
well, it's like today, the news coming out of the scrimmage. And again, guys, people are basing it off of Josh Heupel's comments. The scrimmage was closed to the media, so there's not a ton of news, but it sounds like the offense struggled at times. And, they made some good plays in the red zone, it sounds like. I did hear that Joe Milton made a really nice run, which is interesting because it's a scrimmage and it's basically 2-hand touch on the quarterbacks. So if he made a nice run, he must have made a really nice run, for nobody to get a hand on him. But it sounds like the defense won. But what happens when this becomes game time and the offense struggles like they did today? And that defense, touching on Indy Kid's point, is out there time and time again. A 3-and-out is going to kill this defense. Do they have the depth to make it? And you add 2 guys at every level through the transfer portal. That's going to help you.
Yeah, that's where the transfer portal will be big, especially the guys coming in that have played elsewhere and have some experience.
That front seven's where it's going to be key. You could get away a little bit with playing the same DBs, but they have some depth at DB. It's a veteran defensive backfield for the most part, other than Rucker and Charles, and then your 2 transfers. I mean, those guys are a little younger, but the rest of the secondary is pretty experienced. But that depth's really, I think they've got depth on the line, and now they're not looking at the long snapper as a backup linebacker. That's kind of out the window. I think they said they've got 6 linebackers just in the middle. That's not including who's playing on the outside. So there's a little bit of depth. I don't know what the quality of that depth is. I think Jawan Mitchell will be the alpha in that linebacking core. What's Jeremy Banks? I hope Jeremy Banks does good. That guy's all Vol. He loves Tennessee. He's a wild man out there. I'd like to see him step up and do really well. We'll see. I'm like, if they're going 3-and-out for getting stopped, where's that depth going to come in? And it's coaching them up too. I think there's depth on the defensive line. I still wonder about linebacker, but one thing all I want to see as defense, number one, besides grow and learn and improve, stop the slant. Stop the slant. Mike Bobo provided the blueprint for how to beat Tennessee. And I said I wasn't going back to last year. I say it every episode, but
you have to
learn how to stop it.
Well, that's
don't you think that scheme though more than players? I mean, really?
Yeah.
Honest to God, that has to be scheme, not players.
Well, I don't know why they didn't take inside leverage.
Right, because they're being coached not to. It has to be.
You have a head coach who is supposedly a defensive back guru, and then your defensive coordinator. That's his specialty as well. And they lined up on the outside shoulder every time. So it's one step, and then inside they're open. If the ball's right there, how can you stop that? Because they weren't jamming anybody off the ball, and they're playing outside shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think it's scheme. South Carolina can understand because their guy they were putting in the slot was going against a true freshman. That dude was good. But every single team ran. It was scheme. There's no doubt. If it was just one player, it would have happened one game, not 10.
Hit this super chat real quick. $10 from Trevor Maffetone. I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you, Trevor. We appreciate it. Says, I know it is a long – is that how you pronounce that? Long shot. But if there was any team we could shock this year, I hope it's Georgia. He's speaking my love language. He wants to shock Georgia. Their fans are the worst. Yes, I agree. They act like they are Bama. Yes, Trevor. Do you want to join the show? Says they act like they're Bama. They have not won a thing. Hashtag go big orange. You have no idea how much I love that super chat, Trevor. I should have paid you to say that because I hate Georgia probably more than anybody. Alan V, I hope you're still here though, buddy.
It's going to be a tall task.
Let's do some plugs real quick. We do have 193 people watching live right now. We've got 85 thumbs up. That's not bad. I mean, we're almost halfway there. Let's see if we can get that over 100. Do us a favor. If you enjoy the content that we provide, just smash that thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate it. It's a gimmick, but it does help the channel. We appreciate it. Alan B is still here, and he's upset now. We love Alan's like that crazy uncle at the barbecue. We love Alan for some reason. I don't know why.
In here all the time, though.
Yep.
I think he's a closet Tennessee fan.
Papa T in SC, also known as Vol Nation. What's up, buddy? Glad to see you in the chat. He says, let's take a minute and think about things. Wouldn't it make sense for a scrimmage, the defense that has seen this for the past few weeks have an advantage? You got 3 quarterbacks rotating in for evaluation. Maybe. I'm just happy. I really am happy. I thought for sure we were going to come out of practice and hear how great the quarterbacks were. Actually, if I'm being truthful, I said that it was going to come out that Harrison Bailey dominated, and then that's all I was going to hear about for the next week.
You
but
stole mine, yeah.
I was glad to see the defense get a win. I really was.
Throughout the history of over the years, it's normally been that way. to start that the defense is winning. So I think it's encouraging. The spring game provided what we needed to see. We needed something fun. I'm sure that's coming in a few minutes. But I think it's encouraging. It tells me the defense is making progress. Because if they're getting smoked on day one, they're not making progress.
Right. Yep. I agree. Somebody in the chat says it apparently looks like Maurer is gone. Let's go ahead and talk about that. It's hard for me. Like, I've got all these subjects running through my head that I've already done videos on, but we still need to talk about them when we're live doing live streams. That's what's fun, is to have that back and forth conversation with you guys and the chat as well. So let's talk about Brian Maurer. It appeared Monday that he was taking fewer reps, and now it comes out in the press conference that Josh Heupel sat down, spoke to him, told him he was the fourth guy, and they were going to be cutting back his reps in practice. Brian Maurer apparently didn't like that. He took to Instagram. I had the picture here. I think I still have it. Yeah, I still got it. We can throw it up there. Of course, this is the edited version. The first picture that went up said, "They took my dream away after 4 practices. I'm a soldier." Then he went back and edited it to just "I'm a soldier." Doesn't show up to practice the next day. Scrimmage today doesn't show up to the scrimmage today. Robert, what are your first thoughts about Brian Maurer?
I think he's seen the writing on the wall. We talked about it multiple times on this show, and you've hit on it in some videos. I think the staff just had some doubts about the quarterback room, and they went out and found a guy that they liked and that they thought could bring something to the table. I did think that Maurer and Harrison Bailey had a little bit of a leg up, just being there and being in the program, knowing some of the guys. But as we've seen, Hooker come along, and then Milton, he's kind of shown out. That's the 2 guys I've seen the most highlights from this week. That's for sure. So I think it's in the case of Maurer, I think, he had an upside. He had potential. He had that factor of being the backup, the sexiest guy on the team when we were going through the issues with number 2. Everybody wanted Maurer in there. Came in, brought some spark, made some plays, but showed some reckless abandon with his body, and unfortunately was never able to finish a game he started. I wish him well. I hope he goes somewhere and finds some success on the field. He was exciting to watch play, but I don't know that style of play matches up in SEC football.
We'll keep talking about Brian Maurer here, but you can answer this question real quick for somebody in the chat.
I believe I got it at Alumni Hall. It's a Nike hat.
There you go. Taking care of you. Let me hit the super chat, then we'll get a little bit more into Brian Maurer. Trevor Maffetone back again with another $10. Thank you, Trevor. We appreciate that. Says Georgia fans follow every Tennessee media outlet because they have to seek out fans that are worse off so they can feel better about their choke-heavy, trophyless team. Braves, Falcons, Georgia. Well, we don't have to talk about – see, we had a good thing going, Trevor. You don't have to talk about the Braves, though. Let's talk about the Braves. Everything else is fine.
You a Braves fan, Andy kid?
Oh, yeah.
See, that's all 3 of us there. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like Tennessee. You just live the glory years.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, that choke of the NLCS last year.
Oh, man.
Still stings.
Let's
3-1.
Let's keep talking about Brian Maurer a little bit. Something I want to talk about is, okay, they're coming at me about quarterbacks. We'll get into it, Tony. Don't worry. We'll get into the quarterback talk. I was a Hendon Hooker fan. I'm a Harrison Bailey fan. Let's be honest. We'll talk about quarterbacks in a little bit, Tony, I promise, after we get through this Brian Maurer deal and some other stuff. Any kid, don't you think we have to be careful? Because, I see a lot of people, and I see people here in the chat doing it now, saying, good riddance, hit the road, yada, yada, yada. And that's the first thing that comes to my mind too. But when you have a guy that openly admits to having mental health issues and a guy that openly admits that he has struggles. The kid needs help. And I think we as a fan base need to be, I guess, sensitive. I hate to use the word, but I guess sensitive to that, because it takes a lot to come out the way that he came out and talked about it.
It does. And I think he'd do himself a lot of favors if he just stayed off social media.
Sure.
If he stayed off social media, there'd be a lot more support for him because, like Dauber said, people liked seeing him come out. People were happy when he came out. He played with reckless abandon. It's kind of like when Butch Jones was there. If Butch Jones would just shut his mouth, people would have liked him better. It's the same thing here. If Brian Maurer stays off social media, I wish they would, and maybe they do in college with these guys. There needs to be some kind of a true social media class for them. Just really all of society, frankly, but not just. But I think he would have a lot more goodwill. But I don't wish him bad. I hope he goes on and does well. I just think at this point there's three better guys than him. Not that he doesn't have talent. I just think he's kind of an enigma.
Well, here's the thing, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't think the previous coaching staffs did any of the quarterbacks that were there, are currently there, or have not been at practice for the last couple of days any favors, because there was little to no development, and you never saw competition or drive to push each other to get better. It was just like, okay, you go out there and same thing, status quo. Okay, now your turn. And there really was never, that factor of pushing each other to get better.
Chris Winkie sucked, and regardless of what we say, there may be some different. Jim Chaney sucked. I've said it on here. I don't care if he sucked. He did nothing for them. I know we're going to disagree on that one, but I know Pruitt overruled him some, but Jim Chaney did not have a good 2 years.
I just don't think he had an opportunity to have a good 2 years. So you can blame him for that. I'll blame Jeremy Pruitt for that. But
I'm not saying he's not totally to blame, but still yet I think I don't think he did his job.
Well, we talked about it in the fall of the Vols. Why is he so hands off with the quarterback? It's like he just roams around practice lost. It made no sense to me.
No.
Made no sense.
No. Well, thank God we don't have to deal with that anymore. So it's but I'm with you on the mental stuff. I think we need to be careful with that. Wishing guys, hoping, good riddance. And sometimes there's guys like that. And I get it. People not happy with Maurer when he comments too often. I think he wears his feelings on his sleeve a lot, and he's one of those that's not afraid to put. I hope he moves on and does well, though. I really do.
Listen, it's a completely different situation with him versus somebody like Henry T. And the comments that his dad made, and then did y'all see the picture in his Alabama gear, and he still had a Tennessee bracelet on?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And all that. Yeah. So, there's one thing to, Maurer did come out, and he played with that reckless abandon. He put it on the line when he was out there and given the chance. Like you said, he has dealt with publicly, come out and dealt with some mental illness, and that's a bold thing to do, and you can't do anything but wish him well. And it's completely different than somebody that is saying, I'm hitting the transfer portal because I don't believe in the rest of the guys on this team. He's leaving because he wants an opportunity to play.
If he's with his mental issues, and maybe it's a case where the SEC stage is too big, and I'm assuming, I don't know that, but moving down to, somebody mentioned ETSU, let's say he goes down to an ETSU or just a a smaller program somewhere. It may do him a world of good.
Man, that's hilarious because I had the same conversation with my wife when he missed practice. I was like, he's gone. Like, he's not coming back. And she was talking about the transfers and the transfer portal and all that stuff. And I was like, I mean, he's not going to go to some other SEC school and have an opportunity. I was like, but she's like, well, who would want to take him? And I'm like, if he called ETSU right now and said they would welcome him with open arms, they would roll out the red carpet, and I would probably be over in Johnson City watching some football games to see Brian Maurer dominate in that conference.
Yeah.
He would be great. He would be great somewhere like that. And that's why I hope he does. And, I know Troy Lee in the chat. I love Troy Lee. He's a longtime listener kind of talking about mental health, man. It is real. Whether you want to believe it or not, I felt the same way as you for a long time. And I went through some tough stuff in my life. And I felt like no matter what, like you just have this pressure on you, man, that you can't get rid of. And I never believed in depression or anything like that. I used to be the same way. I was like, get up and go work out, go do something, get off your butt. Until you've been through it, you don't understand it. Everybody is different, man. And I truly believe Brian Maurer has issues. Papa T in SC with a $20 super chat. That is not cheap. Thank you, Papa T. Says, unfortunately, Maurer may be like Humpty Dumpty and just couldn't be put back together again. Never the same after his concussion. Great potential, never developed. Very sad. Go Vols. Very true. Very, very true. After that injury, he was never the same again.
Concussions are no joke.
Yeah.
They're no joke.
What some people talking about, a lot of people asked me when all this started, do you think he could play wide receiver? Number one, I don't think he would ever crack into the rotation. I don't think he could. There's too much talent in that wide receiver room. But on top of that, you want to take a guy that's concussion prone and put him in the slot and let him run routes over the middle and see what happens.
I think
recipe for disaster.
I think because James Banks did it back in the day, that people think, well, any guy that has a little bit of mobility can play receiver. He was the exception rather than the norm.
Too. People talk about that.
Well, but Juwan Jennings was recruited more as an athlete. James Banks was a quarterback all the way. It's just there was Casey Clausen waiting, and James Banks probably would have taken over after Casey Clausen left. Or, I mean, it's possible because that's what he was, a 5-star quarterback coming in.
Do you guys want to go down that road now? Do you want to go down that dark and dangerous road of the quarterback competition?
It's time.
I don't know if have we talked about it in a live stream? I don't know that we have.
I don't believe we have either.
Tim Bradley's here, so we can officially start the show at 37 minutes and 49 seconds. I'm glad you're here, Tim. We'll get the show going now. It's been kind of boring and lackluster up to this point. You're here just in time for the quarterback competition, so welcome, Tim. I don't know where to start. I'll start with this because somebody put in the chat, Boogie, I thought you were a Hendon Hooker guy. I feel like I have to defend myself on the regular because just because I tell you guys what I think doesn't mean, like if I say that I think Joe Milton's going to start and I try to lay out my argument for why, that doesn't mean that I'm sitting here saying that Joe Milton is the next Peyton Manning and he's going to go out and dominate and throw for 300 yards a game. That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you why I think he's going to start. But, yeah, I was a Hendon Hooker guy because I thought Hendon Hooker, all the reports coming out of spring practice, that he was QB1, that he was steady Eddie, that he made the fewest mistakes. Everybody in this fan base saw what happened in the orange and white game, and everybody wants to jump on that Harrison Bailey bandwagon. And I love that kid too. But I've said it over and over and over, Josh Heupel got Joe Milton for a reason, and Joe Milton is Josh Heupel's guy. And then all we have heard since then is about his athletic potential, what he brings to the table. Joe Milton is QB1. Andrew Kirkpatrick says, Boogie has convinced me that Joe Milton will be QB1. Indy Kid, I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not going to feed you. Just tell me what you think about this quarterback competition.
I think it'll be a surprise if it's not Joe Milton. And honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not Joe Milton 1, Hendon Hooker 2, Harrison Bailey 3. And some people mention Harrison Bailey next in the portal. I don't know that that's I hope not. But, also if I'm one of these guys and I don't win the job, I would just pack my bags and hit the road, because I read an interesting article on Joe Milton. It was Josh Pate, 24/7. He had somebody else on with him, and they talked about Milton at Michigan, about the fans. The fans at Michigan were starting to compare him to Cam Newton before he took the field, thinking with all his abilities. And they said, yeah, he had some attributes maybe, but the big thing with Joe Milton was he had a good first game, and then he messed up had some thumb damage.
Yeah.
And his accuracy. I mean, we saw Connor Pavoloni in baseball this year. When he got hurt, he wasn't the same throwing. And, obviously the guy's a good catcher and can throw, or he wouldn't have gotten drafted in the 7th round. So it's the same thing with Joe Milton. Yeah, unless something happens crazily, Joe Milton is your starting quarterback in 3 weeks.
The point I bring up regularly about Harrison Bailey and transferring, as a head coach, you don't start somebody just to stop them from transferring. If Harrison Bailey is QB3 and he wants to transfer, you have to let him go. You don't just start a guy so he doesn't transfer. Somebody in the chat was asking about eligibility. Joe Milton has 3 years and Hendon Hooker has 2 years because of the extra year from COVID. But I've seen some people talking about Joe Milton. If he has a big season, he'll go pro. I don't see that either. I don't see that. Maybe if he had a couple of good years, he might do that. What do you think, Dobber? What are your thoughts on the competition?
The thing is, and I know you guys are the same way. It's not going to matter who trots out there first game, first snap, as long as they're successful and they're leading the team down the field, picking up first downs, putting points on the board. At the end of the day, I don't care if it's Hooker, Milton, Bailey, the backup long snapper, whoever they put in out there.
He's busy playing linebacker.
I mean, honestly, though, I just want to see this offense click and go. And whoever it is that takes the keys and drives it, that's fine. With everything, and we've said it before, and I said it earlier, this coaching staff had to have their doubts to go actively seek somebody in the transfer portal and bring them in. Whether they had some rumors, people were going to hit the portal from here, or, think back. The whole deal with Salter, were there issues that we didn't know about that didn't get put out in the media? Was he causing issues prior to the stuff that came out? Otherwise, why go out and get somebody when you have, at the time, 4 other scholarship quarterbacks?
And that's the thing with that point you just made. Sean Calvert here says, I don't see it as doubts. I see it as depth. What'd you just say again, Dobber? How many
4.
scholarship?
4.
So this is 5 when you go get Joe Milton. You don't have 5 Nobody in the country has 5 scholarship quarterbacks.
Most of the time, you only travel 3.
Yeah, it's not a thing, guys. Understand that. It's not about depth. It's not about depth. He had no clue that Salter was going to get dismissed when he went and got Joe Milton.
That being said, if Bailey transfers, they're already looking at guys for the 2022, 2023. If you're not recruiting right now for next year, the year after, then you're behind.
I mean, here's the thing of it, too. With this transfer portal, it's a new game out here. If you need to, you hit the portal again next year, because there's going to be good quarterbacks. Who's to say Bryce Young at Alabama, he's only going to be a redshirt freshman. He's got at least a couple years. Who's to say Ty Simpson doesn't go down and get unhappy and hit the portal at some point? Who's to say, who else will hit the portal? Yeah, I don't think it's as big of a deal now if a guy transfers. You don't want it to be a consistent thing by any means, but this transfer portal's changed the game.
And to your point right there, there are 3 guys in Knoxville right now that could easily start. If one of them steps up and takes that role and becomes the man and gets clicking and grooving in this offense, I see that any of those guys could be the one that takes in and becomes starting quarterback. I think you ride the hot hand. I think you will see 2, if not 3 guys taking snaps at least in week 1.
No.
I think you don't think so?
Well, if it's a blowout.
Right,
now,
right.
I think you see all 3 guys.
If we don't see more than one quarterback in Bowling Green, we got problems because that game needs to be a blowout.
Yeah.
As a fan base, though, and I don't know if it really matters. I saw Nugaloots in the chat earlier say that no matter who Heupel rolls with, we got to get behind him, and we do.
Yeah.
We do. I hate people that boo inside of Neyland Stadium. I can't stand it. We do need to get behind that quarterback, and my concern is Bowling Green, if Joe Milton, Hendon Hooker, Harrison Bailey, whoever the starter is, they go out there and it's a blowout, and then QB2 comes in and has a dominant performance or looks strong, then everybody starts doubting. And I cannot stand that. And people like to, I don't want to say argue, but if they disagree with me when I make a video where I talk about something, that's fine. That's welcome. At the end of the day, we got to get behind whoever is QB1. And even though everybody has labeled me as a Joe Milton guy, and I guess I am at this point, whatever, I'll live up to it. If Harrison Bailey wins the job, you 2 guys don't think that I will be sitting upstairs watching that game, hoping that Harrison Bailey throws for 500 yards? I'm ride or die, man. If you got that jersey on, I don't care what your name is, where you come from. I am ride or die, and I want to see you succeed. So I feel like, maybe I'm crazy, I feel like there are people in this fan base that would rather see Joe Milton fall on his face and be able to admit that they were right than see Joe Milton go out and dominate and Tennessee win. I feel like there are people in this fan base that are like that.
Listen, I want us to have the best starting quarterback, the best backup quarterback, the best third-string quarterback that we can.
Absolutely.
Just win, baby.
We've seen years where we've needed all 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, as recently as you probably could have went that way in Butch Jones's last year, where they were going between Dormady and Garantano. I mean, we've seen multiple quarterbacks under Pruitt. So have them all. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think it's Milton's job to lose. I really do. And like we said it from the minute that the rumors were even out there. He wasn't even officially enrolled. We said it. He is not being brought in to hold a clipboard.
Well, he was in Knoxville for the orange and white game.
Yeah, I mean, the orange and white game, the quarterbacks looked really good, especially Harrison Bailey.
Yeah.
And there's part of me wonders, we were on text, I said, it would not surprise me to hear it come out on the scrimmage. Harrison Bailey looks the best. I think he may have that Dobbs, and I've seen some people in the chat say it. Maybe he's not the best practice, but when the lights come on, he's ready. I still think, and I agree with you, Boogie, I think something's missing with Harrison Bailey, and the big thing is holding on to the ball. And I know some of the first practices it said, I think one of the first plays said Harrison Bailey sacked, holding on to the ball too long. I think that's probably what is holding him back.
Does that go back to coaching, though?
Well, there's something off when you're talking about 2 different coaching staffs, right? Mm-hmm. That's when you start to say, okay, maybe I'm wrong. When I'm sitting here going, well, Harrison Bailey, 5-star, all these Georgia records, blah, blah, blah. I know what you guys like to rattle off at me. Maybe I'm wrong. What did these 2 guys that get paid millions of dollars see wrong with Harrison Bailey? Let me get caught up on Super Chats here, and we'll keep this conversation rolling. Adam Bowen walks up to the table, slaps a $5 bill around, and just walks off. Just leaves $5. Thank you, Adam. We appreciate it. John London with a $5 Super Chat. Thank you, John. Says, I think Bailey might be a better QB when the bullets are live, just not a practice QB. And that's a tough thing. That's a tough thing because, like the Indy kid just said, he looked the best during the orange and white game. He did. He looked really good. That's hard to do. That's a tough situation because as a coach, you got to base your decision off of practice to a certain extent until you see somebody wearing the number 2 trot out there week in and week out and let you down. Trevor, I'm going to come back to your Super Chat because that's something we can kind of talk about. Rebel Son with $5 walks off. Thank you, Rebel. We appreciate the tips. Blueberry J with a 99-cent super chat. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. And I think there's one more. Then I'm going to go back to that question. Where'd it go? William Poole. Thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. All you members, let him know what he has won. Drop those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis in the chat, guys, for as little as 99 cents a month. Not only can you use them in the chat, you can use them on videos or whatever. You can drop comments. You have access to use those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis there as well. Let's go back to this Trevor Maffetone. I'll say it wrong all night. I'm sorry, Trevor. $10 super chat. Thank you, Trevor. We appreciate it. Says, who are each of you starting at wide receiver that Joe Milton will be throwing to? That's a very interesting question. Who will Joe Milton be throwing to?
I mean, they not all of them throw different, to be honest. They all really throw the same, except for Joe. He's a different. But at the end of the day, they all throw the same. They all have the same goal, and I don't really matter to me who throws to me. I just needed to be there.
How do you describe Joe's throws?
How do you describe him? Like a bullet.
That clip never gets old. Let me hit these real quick. Wayne Starnes, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. We appreciate that,
buddy of mine.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, known Wayne for a long time.
Your old buddy Wayne can now drop custom emojis of the Indie Kid in the chat when he's talking to you. Vol Time, Tennessee drops $5 in the bucket and doesn't have anything to say. Thank you for that super chat. We appreciate it. All right, let's go back to that comment. Wide receivers. Obviously, your top two are going to be Jalen Hyatt, Velus Jones Jr., Dauber. Who else you like at that wide receiver position?
I'm excited for those two guys. You put the speed and athleticism out there and spread the field in this offense, man. You combine that with the running backs. I think this team is set up to score some points. And then you've got some of those young guys from early on in the season that were showing out pretty well. I think Tillman is one that he showed some flashes at times, but then it seems like every time we see him, he's dropping something. I don't know. There's potential, and it's a deep wide receiver room, but I'm excited about the speed that we have at the top with Jones and Hyatt.
Nugaloots, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. One of my favorite guys to interact with in the comment section. We appreciate that. When you look at the recruits for the class of 22, every single guy is a burner. They might be a 3-star, but they have speed. Indie Kid, I'll let you go next. I have my guys that I want to talk about too, but I'll throw it to you first.
Let me throw something out real quick. Pause that for a second. Indie Kid and I, might have been the end of basketball or maybe one of the early football live streams we did, talked about how this team sort of fits the style that Heupel wants to run offensively.
It's almost crazy.
It is similar to the situation that we had in basketball when Bruce Pearl took over.
Buzzball.
Yeah. It was a bunch of guys that fit Pearl's system, and that they sort of just kind of took off and rolled. And I really think that this team is set up to have success offensively because of guys that have speed and athleticism and certain skill sets that this type of offense will use. And you talk about plugging and playing with guys in certain positions. Thank you, John London. I was going to go with Beckwith. I mean, this guy could be somebody that you use out of the backfield, split out as like an H-back, multiple options. And that's one thing that I have enjoyed hearing from this staff over and over, talking about using players with the certain skill sets that they have. If a tight end is a blocking tight end, they're not going to stick him out there and expect him to catch 4 or 5 balls a game. They're going to put guys, set them up for success. And I think that's something that previous staffs didn't do. You know, Boogie kind of alluded to Garantano getting a play called in that was overridden by Pruitt. Chaney said, no, we haven't worked on that. We don't need to run it. Pruitt said, yes, let's run it. Ends up being a pick six, 90-some yard pick six. That's setting up the guys for failure. I don't think this staff is going to do that. I think they're a little smarter. Sorry to get off on that, Indy Kid. Before.
Well, we're going to circle the wagons back to wide receivers, Indy Kid.
Cody Burns talked highly about Jimmy Callaway. I think Velus Jones and Hyatt. I haven't heard a lot about Jalen Hyatt. Heard about Velus Jones. Heard about Javonte Payton and Jimmy Callaway. I think Hyatt's still going to be up there, but really I haven't heard much about him. I think there's some depth, and I liked how Burns, when he interviewed with the media, and it's kind of funny getting off on a tangent, and you mentioned about players talking to the media and assistant coaches. We've heard more from players and assistant coaches in the last week than we did the previous 3 years combined. Kind of funny.
Yep.
But anyhow, I think there's depth. I think there's speed. Yeah. Burns spoke highly of Callaway, and I think he's a burner when he come in. That's perfect example, like Dauber mentioned, going back to Bruce Pearl taking over Buzz Peterson's guys and it fitting perfect. This is strange how it worked. All this speed fitting into this offense. And you've heard it about it being a wide receiver's dream. You just got to have somebody to give him the ball. And one thing I saw with Joe Milton mentioned about he throws bullets. Can he check down? Can he hit that running back screen? Can he hit that little check down? That's where Joe Milton is going to be made. It's not going to be – he's going to make long throws. He's going to make the fit it into a small window throws. Can he make the check downs?
And that's where I wonder.
Harrison Bailey can.
Yeah, well, he can, but
yeah, everybody likes to talk about that game where they were in prevent and he threw underneath for absolutely no reason at all. But
I really think
Hendon Hooker's a check down guy too, and I wonder if Hendon Hooker can. It's like they all bring something different to the table, right?
Yeah.
Joe Milton's got the deep ball. Hendon Hooker is steady Eddie. He checks down a lot, and Harrison Bailey's kind of somewhere in the middle.
I think their wide receiving core is. I think it's going to be pretty deep, even though Cody Burns said they're not going to play a lot of guys. Their main guys are going to play most of the time. I think you're going to see Velus. Yeah, I think you're going to see Velus. I think you'll see Hyatt and Payton. I wouldn't be surprised if Velus and Payton start as your top. Obviously, your third guy. Man, I just haven't heard much about Hyatt. And
I think Jalen Hyatt's the number 2. I really do. I think
that's fine, but
I think Javonte Payton's going to be your slot guy. Maybe I'm wrong.
You may be right, and that's fine. I hope Hyatt. Maybe it's a case of no news is good news. Maybe Hyatt's just taking care of business like he should, but he'll be in the top 3. I honestly think it'll be, but I don't know Callaway, man. He's it's going to be a tough. Other than Velus Jones one. I'm probably guessing if I predict the rest. I think you've got those 3 guys. Cedric Tillman, they talk about how he's done well. Holiday's got speed. Walker Merrill, talk about how he's a competitor.
Man, the guy that you heard a lot about during the spring was Anderson Kobe, but I don't think he's gonna get a lot of play.
They complimented him, said he's done well, but I think he's maybe a little smaller guy.
I think you're going to see Velus Jones, and you're going to see Javonte Payton. Jalen Hyatt, Jimmy Callaway. That's going to be your top 4. And if they're saying they're not going to go real deep, then maybe you just see those 4 guys.
I could see Tillman maybe
Cedric,
a goal line.
I think they
corner
complimented him today some too after the scrimmage. I think they were talking about him. I think some people talking in the chat about him not living up to the hype. I think you may be thinking about Ramel Keaton because I don't think he's really.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Tillman wasn't. He was kind of a come out of nowhere signing out of Las Vegas. Yeah, I think Keaton's buried.
Let me get caught up on these super chats. We got a bunch coming in. I do want to also say we got 243 people watching live right now. Thanks for joining us on a Thursday evening. Just a reminder, we're full steam ahead. We are going live every Tuesday. That is going to be a change from last Tuesday or from last year. Last year we were live every Wednesday. This year we're live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. But we are full steam ahead. So join us for that. Smash that like button. Let's get it up. We got 156, now 157. Let's keep that rocking and rolling. Let me get through these super chats. Philip Scalf says, here's $5. I don't have anything to say, but he's like, oh, wait, I forgot. Let me add another $5. Thank you, Philip, for the super chats. Says, you guys are awesome. Georgia, Alabama are the defenses that have me seriously concerned. What are your best and worst case scenarios? Let's briefly address that. I dropped a video today. It was Kirk Herbstreit kind of talking about this Josh Heupel offense. And he said the one thing that can beat this offense is a solid defensive line so that you can spread your defenders out, cover the outside. And Georgia and Alabama are obviously 2 teams that concern you there. Worst case scenario, Tennessee gets absolutely blown out. Best case, they're in it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Tennessee beats Georgia or Alabama. I think best case, they make it a football game going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, agreed. And that's what I want to see is being competitive. Closing the gap. That's something that Coach Jeremy Pruitt talked about, and the scores were more lopsided every time he played the Big Three. But I want to see improvement on offense, improvement on defense. I want to see guys get better. And that's something that I've talked about. You've seen guys the last couple of years just come in and they have potential and they have ability, but they just don't develop and they plateau. They or even regress. How many guys got worse? I mean, you talk about the offensive line last year. All the talent, 4s and 5 stars end to end. And there were games that we couldn't run block. There were games we couldn't have pass protection. I think that the previous staff was such that they failed these kids. It's embarrassing that they took home paychecks. Any other job that you don't succeed at, you get fired from. Well, I mean, they did get fired, but man, I don't think you can blame it all on the kids because a lot of it was lack of development, lack of technique. How many times did we get out there and just look lost?
For the last 3 years.
Yeah. I was going to say every week.
Every week for the last 3 years.
I was talking about that 4. This week, how important Juwan Mitchell was because he's basically replacing Henry T because you need a quarterback on defense that can call the plays and get guys lined up. And it was almost comical looking back to last year. Like that was a huge problem all year is getting the play in and getting guys lined up. So that's something we got to address this year. And I know it's a different staff, but it is still crucial that Juwan Mitchell, does replace Henry T and is able to do that because he is a leader on defense. Indy Kid, what scares you about Georgia and Alabama? What's worst case? What's best case?
Don't care about those 2. Let's meet this team where it's at.
That's a good statement.
That's top 5 teams, guys. Come on. That's further down the line. Somebody said, let's beat Kentucky. I totally agree. Let's meet this team where it's at. They went 3-7. They lost a lot of guys, contributors, non-contributors. They're getting probably retaught. They're getting different coaching. Let's meet them where they're at. Let's start with Bowling Green. And not only beating them, blowing them out. Not because
yes,
that's just the game. Bowling Green is not very and I'm looking at stuff Vegas. Vegas is normally pretty. They're not always perfect, but
they weren't built on winners.
Good.
They weren't built on winners.
It's a big spread. Let's blow them out. Let's get our backups in. I still point to I don't care about Georgia. I care about game number 2, Pitt. And
I want to come
go
back
either
to that
way.
Pitt game. I want to come back to that Pitt game.
That could go either way, but we've got to start. Vegas is predicting 6.5 wins, which rounds up to 7. And if we win 7, that's a successful season.
Hey,
but there are some games. Tennessee could win. Tennessee could also lose. So there is a best case, worst case in that. But, anything, let's look at where – and I get it. That's who our schedules are based on, Bama, Georgia, Florida. I have no problem with that at all. I'm just kind of looking from look at where we are last year against – I would say anything closer than what we were against those teams last year is step in the right direction. And then we start looking at your Ole Miss. I think that's going to be a tough game. Missouri, I think Missouri's going to be favored, but it's a more manageable schedule. I think any ground you make, whether the game gets away in the fourth quarter, and that's all right. If you play Georgia, Alabama, or Florida close, and then they get away from you in the fourth quarter because they have more, that's progress. That's progress. And obviously that's where coaches at Tennessee are those 3 teams. If anything, I think Florida is more gettable than anything. And I'm not saying by any means Tennessee will beat Florida, but Florida's got a new quarterback. They're replacing a lot of guys. Even Alabama. Alabama's ranked number 1. And, they're replacing a lot of guys, replacing a lot of coaches. I think Georgia's going to be strong.
It goes back to what you said, though. We have to meet this team where they're at. You got to – yes, I'm excited, and I'm the ultimate hype man. I get so fired up every year because my wife calls it fall mat. Fall mat's here. It's over. My husband's gone for the next 3 months. But I'm excited, man, and I can't wait to see what this staff does. But we got to be realistic. You got to keep yourself grounded. Let me get caught up on Super Chats because they're getting away from us again. John London with $5 Super Chat. Thank you, John. We appreciate it. Going back to that wide receiver discussion, he says Swain said they were best when you just used a few wide receivers, made it easier, and you knew who was getting the ball. Thank you, John, for that. We appreciate it. John London for $2 says it was Bailey's job to lose. May the best man win. Something else, speaking of Jason Swain, Swain went to practice on Saturday, which was closed to the media, but Swain, as a former player, went. And he said one thing that these quarterbacks cannot do is say they were not given an opportunity, because at practice Saturday, every quarterback got every opportunity, even reps. You can't blame anybody but yourself. You got an opportunity. Blueberry J24 comes back with a $2 Super Chat. Thank you, Jay. We appreciate that. It says over under on 7 wins. Dobber, what do you got? Over under on 7 wins.
I think realistically, I think 500 is a good season. I'm going to go one lower than you, Indy Kid. You said 7 wins is. I think 6-6 is a good season.
That's why I just said Vegas went 6.5. So that rounds to 7. I said, and if that's the case, that's a really good year.
I'm happy. I'm happy with 6 wins. That's progress. That should be, winning the games that you're supposed to win and picking up a couple of those maybes, as long as, like you've said, and like we've said all along, you're competitive and you show improvement, that you're not, getting ran out of the stadium or, in it at the opening kick and that's it. If you can be in some games late, and there is potential. There is a ceiling. I mean, if the ball bounces the right way, and I said this about the '98 team. We don't get lucky at Syracuse. Arkansas doesn't fumble. We don't kick a bomb of a field goal against Florida. That 98 season is completely different. That's why they play the games, guys. We might come out. We might go down to Gainesville and, head into that game undefeated and riding some momentum, and this offense starts clicking, and who knows? That's what's exciting. That's why there is that new hope, and you can't help but be a little optimistic. But I think 7 is maybe under. I think I'll stick with 6, but 7. It could be dead on. Could be a push at 7.
We got to hit this super chat because the Godfather is here. Donovan Milliken is in the house. He saw your super chats and he said,
To be the man, you got to beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here.
Donovan with a $99.99 super chat. Donovan, you're one of a kind. Thank you, buddy, for the super chat. It's you're extremely generous, and we appreciate it. That ain't cheap. $100 super chat ain't cheap to watch 3 idiots sitting in their basements talking about Tennessee football. But we love you, Donovan. We appreciate it. It says Pittsburgh game will tell the tale. Let's talk about that Pittsburgh game because they just dubbed it the Johnny Majors Classic. Indy Kid, what you think about that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I know Tennessee goes back to Pittsburgh. I wonder if it's going to be a Johnny Majors Classic home and home.
It is.
Hope so. Okay.
On both of them.
Good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it adds something.
It's classy.
Yeah.
Good move by both universities.
I would like to see, and then Indy Kid, I want you to continue there. But I think it was on Swain, maybe on Swain's show or BallQuest. I don't remember where I saw it, talking about how it would be awesome if both schools wore whatever uniforms they wore when Coach Majors was there and did throwback uniforms. I think that would be really neat. And if it's a home and home, that'd be awesome. Go with some throwback unis for the Johnny Majors Classic. Sorry, Indy Kid.
No, that's all right. And I could even see it being where some of these times where these teams both wear their home jerseys. I mean, I know UCLA and USC's done it at times where USC would wear maroon, UCLA would wear their blue. That'd be kind of cool, maybe. Cool game. I think it's a big game. Interesting. Michael Palmer said UT's never beaten Pitt 0-2. And I think this is a toss-up game based on rankings. Tennessee and Pitt are both close. I really think I've said this from the get-go, from the first time on live shows that we looked at the schedule. I think this is a must-win. That doesn't mean I'm saying it's a guaranteed win. I'm not saying that at all. It's one that if Tennessee doesn't show up, Pitt can definitely come in and beat them. But if you're going to get this tenure off to a good start, this is a good team coming in. It is a winnable game. It's also a losable game. At home, new tenure, new coaching staff. If you want to set the trail, I think you got to win this game. And again, it's not me saying they're definitely going to win it. I'm not saying it, but it's
crucial.
I'm just afraid because there's a lot of people still on the fence about Josh Heupel. I get it. I understand it. I think this changes some opinions. If he wins that game, people are like, okay, this guy's on the right track. That's a good start. Whereas if Pitt comes in and beats him, I just afraid you're going to see some pitchforks out. I just think there's a portion of people waiting for Josh Heupel to screw up in a game to break the pitchforks out. And it
almost goes back to what I said about the quarterbacks. The people that would rather Tennessee lose and them be right about the quarterback situation. It's the same thing. The people that are out there that are saying that Josh Heupel is not going to succeed, that he's going to get fired in 3 years. It's almost like they are sitting back, hoping that Pitt wins so they can say that they were right, which is that's not a Tennessee fan. I don't know what you are. You're a prick. Other than that, I don't really know what you are. But the thing is, you beat Pittsburgh. The reason that game is so crucial, you beat Pitt, Dauber, you're rolling into Florida because you're going to roll through Tennessee Tech. You're going to roll into Florida 3-0, and you talk about momentum, and you talk about a fan base that is sitting on the edge of their seat ready to go. That Florida game is going to be huge. And I'm not, like any kid said earlier, I ain't going to sit here and pretend that Tennessee's going to win, but there's going to be some fight in the dog.
Oh, for sure. And you know, they've lost some guys too. So, like Indy said, that is potentially one of those. We're rolling into Gainesville with as good of a shot as we've had in a few years to go down there and get a win.
I just hope it's not, just real quick, how many times have we said that over the years, Zone? It's just been a crash and burn. Hopefully it's not, but it's fair point, yeah.
I mean, but gosh, I think I made the comment either on the last of the fall episodes, talking about the last time that I had confidence going into Gainesville was the year that Hunter got hurt. Justin Hunter going across the middle, tore his knee up. Other than that, man, I couldn't tell you. It just seems like we go down there defeated already. It's been our trap game. You know, Peyton couldn't beat Florida. It's been something. And Boogie and I were in Knoxville together when we broke the streak in Knoxville. You know, jumping around, hugging dudes that we'd never met before.
So pissed off in the first half.
Oh God, yeah. We were both ready to leave.
Yeah, and I'll say this: I just kind of mentioned, because just kind of backtrack if some of you guys missed it. Somebody asked about, you know, Georgia and Bama. I just kind of mentioned, I think if any of them that we may be able to play close, it's Florida. I have to see it to believe it. Beating Florida, especially in the swamp. It's I just want to see it competitive. I think they have a chance to be competitive with them. I don't expect them to go down there and win. So no, I don't think any of us are chalking up calling.
No,
we're just saying that. But
there's potential.
There's some change
for it to be a ball game.
Yeah, and Tennessee's gone down there and had numerous played good games, and just not being able to do it. I mean, Florida's got new quarterbacks. They lost some good players down there. Again, that's not us saying we think they're going to win. I don't think any of us are saying that. But
no, it's just,
it's
going to be a good atmosphere. It's going to be a good atmosphere for this fan base.
At some point, when a team like Florida loses what they've lost, you know they're probably going to reload. They at least need to be competitive with them.
I think we need to wrap up this stream and put a big fat bow on it. Again, reminder, it's go time. We're going to be going live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time until the season starts. We'll continue that same schedule throughout the season. And then Saturdays immediately following the game. I think we're all in agreement. I think we're probably going to do a tailgate show for the Bowling Green game. We'll go live about an hour before the game, hang out with you guys for about 45 minutes. Then we'll shut down, watch the game, and then jump back on for the post-game show. But I want to share these out real quick because it is brand new. Some of you have probably already seen it in the videos promoting it. But we do have new merchandise that we're rolling out for this season. It's the new Talkin Vols Retro Vols logo merchandise. We got all kinds of different designs. Look, I love this design. Look at that. You got the checkerboard. You've got the Knoxville City skyline. It's kind of like a 80s Miami Vice type logo that we changed and adjusted. My stepbrother Kevin does a great job on this merchandise, but they're available for sale now. Go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin Vols. Again, when you look at it, there's all these different color options at the bottom, different sizes, different designs, all that stuff. And then we got the regular merchandise. If you're a baseball fan, we got the Diamond Vols merchandise. This shirt, all you guys in the chat, this shirt is going away very, very soon. I could just delete it at any time. I don't know when, within the next week or so. We'll see. But we're getting rid of the cartoon emoji stuff. The shirts are gone. So if you want one, if you love JP, I saw him in the chat just a few minutes ago. I don't know if he's still there or not. If you love JP, this is your last chance. That's going to be gone forever. We got the Talkin Vols hoops merchandise, State Pride logo, regular logo, and Papa T picked up a Talkin Vols coffee mug this week. We appreciate that, buddy. But the link to all the merchandise is in the description below. Let me hit these couple of super chats real quick. Where did it go? Where did it go? Was it just a super sticker? There it is.
Sticker.
Blueberry J with a 99-cent super sticker. Is it Indie Kid? Nope. It's just a sign that says nope. I don't know what that means, but thank you for the super sticker. We appreciate it. I think that is going to wrap it up for this one. Tons of content coming your way. Is going to continue to cover practice reports, all that good stuff, and videos, and then we will be live Tuesday night. So if you haven't done so yet, please smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. His name is Dauber. He's the Indie Kid. I'm Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin Vols Network. Go Big Orange.
How